If you've been playing Escape from Tarkov for a while, you have probably heard that point fire is extremely powerful. It is, in my opinion, one of the most important skills to learn if you want to survive more PvP fights. And while I have made videos on point fire before, I recently discovered yet another reason that it is so powerful. It almost completely negates one of the most annoying things that can happen to you in a fight: aim punch. Now, there are tons of reasons to learn point fire, and I will go through them all in this video, but like we said, a big one that I recently discovered is the fact that it almost completely negates aim punch. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what aim punch is, it's basically the flinch of your character when they get shot. Now, in Tarkov, this drastically moves where you're aiming, making it extremely hard to track and hit your target. Now, I kind of get this from a realistic or immersive perspective. However, I think in general, in gaming, when you remove the control of the character from the player, that is rarely a thing people get excited about. And additionally, as we'll see, the experience doesn't seem consistent, and ultimately it feels like you end up getting punished for trying to plan, prepare, or play smart. So let's take a look at a few clips that really show off how bad the aim punch can be when you're aiming down sights, and then contrast that with how minimal it feels when you're point firing. I'm dead.
Square in the hill behind where we... Oh, that's a good nade.
I'm dead. So as you can see, the aim punch can be really bad. It's really unpredictable. It doesn't pull your gun in the same direction either time. At least in my testing, sometimes if you get shot in the arms or the thorax or the head or the legs, you can still get aim punched. It's really hard to recover from it. It can pull your point of aim pretty far off. In this instance right here, you can see all the scope shadow that I got. You know, this is what I was talking about where it feels like you're punished for planning. You know, I set up for this guy, I'm crouched, which is going to reduce my recoil. I'm aimed, he's running, I'm stationary. And because he is point firing me and getting a few shots off on me, I just can't keep up with him. Even though it kept pulling me to the right there, all that scope shadow meant it was really hard for me to kind of like compensate and reconnect. And you can tell by how fast he's moving across the screen, how fast his motion is. He's definitely point firing me. So when we take a look at how minimal it is, you can see kind of maybe a little bit from his perspective. And then in the third clip, you can really see me try to track this guy and then constantly have to kind of like course correct and react to everything. He's running to the left, so I snap to the left to try and shoot him. Obviously, I miss a lot of those shots because he immediately, you know, goes from W to S. He stops moving, starts pulling backwards. So then I kind of correct to him. I get a few solid shots on him, but boom, that very first shot takes me way off there. And it's really interesting to see how far off your point of aim it can take you. I go from, you know, shooting this guy in the thorax to, let's see, his first hit takes me all the way down to these containers. Boom. That he hits me once, and now I'm all the way down shooting these containers. And he's behind my scope now. I'm way off, and then I try and course correct. He hits me again, and I get pulled way off. So once again, it doesn't seem consistent in the direction that it takes you. It just kind of pulls you way off. Now, let's contrast this with some clips of when I'm point firing and taking damage and show you how different that experience is.
I was on wood going out the back of
Someone's at the front. Someone's at the front. Yeah.
I hit wood out back.
Hold on. I kill him.
Nice job.
Ooh. So you can see how vastly different those experiences are. And when I first set out to make this video, I was actually under the impression that you just don't get aim punched at all when point firing, when you're not ADS. It seems like that might not be the case. It seems like you might get a little bit of point fire, but with everything combined, it's just so much less dramatic. It's so much easier to correct your shots, and it feels like it's such a minimal amount of aim punch, if it's even there. It is so much easier to correct, to the point where it almost negates the mechanic entirely. As we can see with this clip, if we slow it down, I took so much damage while fighting this guy. I missed a lot of my shots. A lot of them went into that doorway there. But even though he hit me and almost killed me, I was able to constantly just make these little micro adjustments. My laser is never ripped way off to the side like those other clips. And I'm able to just keep on target and just keep shooting, keep strafing, and take him out. Same kind of thing here with this third clip. This one, I actually almost felt like I felt a little bit of that jerk off to the left while I was shooting him, and he hits me in the arm, and you kind of see me kind of rip over there right when that shot happens. This was the clip that had the most defined, what I would call aim punch while point firing. But look at how small of a difference it is. I basically go from one shoulder, over one shoulder to over the other shoulder, and am immediately able to kind of like course correct this and bring it right back to his face. I actually think during that aim punch or during that hit when I'm crossing over is when I hit him in the face. But that's such dramatically less than, you know, some of those other clips where I'm aiming directly on him and then I'm actually like way off shooting barrels off to the right. This seems like such a small amount, something that's so much more manageable. I don't even have my laser on at this point, and boom, I'm able to just keep on target and keep pushing him. So that is yet another reason why point fire is so strong. It was just something I kind of discovered recently. I'd been dying a lot to aim punch, and then I kind of went on a tear with this MP7 point firing everybody, realizing I hadn't really noticed it. So whether it's there or it's not there, at the end of the day, the experience seems so much more minimal, so much more manageable, and this is just one of many reasons why point fire is so strong in Escape from Tarkov, and we can go into a raid and talk about those other reasons. So we'll kind of blow through these really quickly because I've made content about them before, but I want to give you the full picture in this video about why point fire is so good. One of those things is the accuracy of point fire. So we can kind of set up an experiment here. I'm about 10 meters away from a wall. I've got two MP7s exactly the same. I'm doing it so that I can alternate between them so the suppressor glow or anything like that doesn't mess with the accuracy of the gun, but the exact same ammo, the exact same rounds, the exact same attachments. And we can take our first one and basically just aim at this bottom thing here. I'm not going to compensate for recoil at all. This is all going to be just the MP7 in full auto. Pretty tight. It's an SMG. That's understandable. We move over to the right here. I'm going to turn the laser on just so that I know my point of aim is roughly the same. And then I'm going to turn this off. So this is point fire without a laser. A little bit more inaccurate, but not bad for an SMG at around 10 meters. But the big thing is the lasers or flashlights increase the accuracy of your point fire. So if I reload with this original MP7, hopefully the suppressor's cooled off. We turn the laser on. I put it at the exact same spot, same distance. And boom, as you can see, if we get close, we had a little bit more vertical climb than with, you know, aiming down sights, but the spread is almost exactly as tight. It's very, very accurate. Additionally, I repeated this experiment at about 15 meters away, and the farther you get away from your target, the point fire without a tac device, without a laser or a flashlight, starts going all over the place. However, as soon as you click that laser back on, you are always almost identically as accurate as if you're aiming down sights. If we did the same thing at 20 meters, the point fire without a tac device is all over the place now. It's crazy, but you flip on that laser and it is almost as accurate as aiming down sights. So building off everything we just talked about with the aim punch, you can really start to see how powerful this is. When you're aiming down sights, you have the ability to be jerked around, but if you're not aimed down sights, that aim punch is minimal to non-existent, and you can be just as accurate if you throw on a tac device, even out to, you know, 15, 20 meters, which is crazy to get point fire kills in. In addition to all that, another reason why point fire is so good is just the general visibility. Some scopes pull your FOV in more than others. These EOTechs don't really pull it in a lot. However, I have lost people behind the actual scope, the bezel of the scope, which can be frustrating. And generally, you just don't have something right there in the middle of your screen, kind of like covering what you're looking at. You just seem to have better visibility here. So if you've got the better visibility, the accuracy, and you're not getting aim punched, it's really, really good. And then the final thing I'll talk about is the movement speed. So I'm going to cut the camera here so you can see the little movement guy down in the corner. But as you can see, if I'm side strafing, you know, I'm moving at whatever my maximum speed is. It's a little bit low now because of the gear. But if I ADS, boom, you can see it basically halves whatever movement speed that you have. So now I am moving slower. So if I'm trying to clear a doorway or move around cover, if there's a guy down here and I'm trying to swing on him, I'm moving so much slower when I'm ADS that I'm an easier target to hit. And this is especially important in all sorts of tactical situations. If you're trying to cross over a doorway or moving from cover to cover, aiming down sights is just going to slow you down. If I know there's a guy in here and I need to get over here to connect with my teammates or something, if I'm aimed down sights while I do this, I have so much more time to be shot at as opposed to just moving along, maybe pre-firing it and then getting away. And that works in a bunch of different ways. So when we add all those things together, the fact that the aim punch is almost completely negated, you're just as accurate, you've got better vision, and your movement speed is faster, it is really easy to see how insanely powerful point fire is. In general, I think it might be a little bit too powerful. I don't necessarily know how to nerf it, but in general, it feels like point fire is a very reactionary type of gameplay where you can just kind of run around, and if somebody shoots at you or if somebody shoots and misses, you get to just react by holding mouse 1 and then kind of dragging around to find that person. And it's so accurate that there's really no reason not to do that. If you're setting up for an enemy, if you're trying to play smart, if you're trying to kind of play with tactics and you're aiming and you're trying to be as accurate as you can be, and you take any damage at all from a lucky shot from somebody who's reacting, you are more punished than they are, and you basically kind of lost that fight for trying to play more tactically. So I don't know how to fix it. It's a complicated issue, but at the end of the day, point fire as it stands in Escape from Tarkov and for the past few years has been extremely powerful. So if you want to keep up, if you want to start winning more fights and winning more PvP, I definitely suggest that you take some time and practice this skill, run into an offline raid and just try killing scavs without an optic, use your lasers, and then the more that you kind of get used to it, the more that you'll be less reliant on lasers for the super close quarter stuff. But turning on a laser, turning on a flashlight is, you know, beneficial in a bunch of different ways anyway. Anyways, let me know what you think down below. Do you think that point fire is overpowered? Would you like to see it nerfed a little bit? How would you do that? If you like this video, think about dropping a like, commenting down below, or subscribing to the channel for more content like this. I stream Escape from Tarkov on Twitch about 6 days a week. All my links will be down below. I'd love to have you stop by and say hey. And if you're looking for people to play Tarkov with, our Discord server is an awesome place to be. That link is down below as well. Thank you again for stopping by, and I will definitely see y'all on the next one.